There can be something very attractive about rituals, and particularly if food is involved. And it seems that the Hebrew people that this letter was written to were still very attracted towards certain ceremonies, rites, rituals that included food, possibly in the temple, possibly in relation to Jewish sacrifices. In verse 9, the writer reminds us Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today and forever. And Jesus, by his death, declared that the sacrificial system of the Old Testament was completed and that he had fulfilled them. And shortly after this letter was written, the temple was destroyed and that system fell into disuse. But at the time it was written, people were still seeking and attracted. And the writer says in verse 10, we have an altar from which those who minister at the tabernacle have no right to eat. Now that the fullness has come in Jesus, the temporary can be dispensed with and needs to be dispensed with, and a line needs to be drawn. It's not that there aren't prophetic promises that are contained within the sacrifices and the promises of the Old Testament. It's that now Jesus has come and therefore we have an altar. We have not a Eucharistic altar where when we share bread and wine, but in the sacrifice of Jesus himself, as he entered into the heavenly tabernacle, as he offered the one eternal sacrifice for our redemption, he's accomplished for us something that we by faith are able to participate in. And Jesus says, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man, you have no life within you. We now eat of the flesh of the Son of Man. What does that mean? It means by faith, we put our trust in Jesus, Jesus alone. And we don't look to rituals or ceremonies. Nothing can take the place of our Lord Jesus. But this may lead us into consequences that are unpleasant, just as they did for Jesus. It tells us that the animals, when they were sacrificed in the Old Testament, the blood was poured on the altar, but their bodies were burned outside the camp. And so Jesus also suffered outside the city gates to make people holy through his own blood. Let us then go outside the camp, bearing the disgrace he bore, for we do not have an enduring city, but we are looking for the city that is to come. In other words, our gaze is always to Jesus and to the eternal, rather than to the here and now, things that can be touched and tasted. We've tasted of something, someone far more superior.